Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Good Game Empire video. And in this video, we will be talking about my favorite troop in the game, the Veteran Swordsman. This guy is very expensive to recruit, costing 461, and has the following stats: 111 melee attack, 138 melee defense, 72 range defense, 29 looting capacity, 28 travel speed, and 6 food consumption. Now, this guy is my favorite troop in the game, firstly, because he just looks awesome, and secondly, because he's actually a lot more useful than you might think. He's not the go-to melee troop in all circumstances, especially if you're running low on cash, you shouldn't be using him, but he does have his uses. First, if you go attack samurai camps, most players will just send ranged in their first wave, like this, as you can see. But with the Veteran Swordsman, you can just put him into later waves, and you'll get, how much loot did we have, before this? So we got 7,000 extra loot from putting just, 250 or so Veteran Swordsmen in. So you can get a significant amount of extra loot by putting your Veteran Swordsman in after your Veteran Crossbowmen, or whatever range troop you're using, to attack samurai. Now, you may be asking, why can't I just use Veteran Macemen for this, Alex? Because Veteran Macemen are cheaper, and they cost less food, and they're just better. Because Veteran Macemen cannot defend, Veteran Swordsmen can. Veteran Swordsmen are basically just an amazing troop, because they're your defense, but they're a mobile defense force. You can also use them to attack. So they're actually more efficient, because if you look at the cost of a melee defense and attack, a melee defender is 77, a melee attacker would be, if you're using one equivalent to the Veteran Swordsman, would be 64. Now, that is still nowhere near the Veteran Swordsman's price, but it does make the Veteran Swordsman's price look less ludicrous. And the Veteran Swordsman uses less food, because it uses 6 food versus this, the attacker uses 4, and the defender uses 3, so you're saving 1 food. So, it's actually usable when you're just normally playing the game. However, its real use comes into effect during wars. During wars, you usually can't recruit when you're offline, or you're gonna get sniped. So, what you do is you try to make the most of your recruitment when you're online. Now, if you look at how long it would take to recruit 1 defender and 1 melee attacker, let's assume you're using the cheapest, fastest to recruit attacker, and the best defender, and also the one that is cheaper than just like a Veteran Spearman. So we can look at how long it takes to recruit: 6 hours for the attacker, and an additional 9, which basically plus the 15 and 30, let's round it down to 15 hours. The Veteran Swordsman takes 3.5. You can recruit this guy about 4 times faster than having a equivalent attack and defense group, which is insane in wars. You can just out-attrition your enemy, although your treasury will go down faster. It's much faster to recruit. Now, it actually has more uses, especially in the Outer Kingdom. Say you're fighting over RVs, like I am. Someone stole 2 of my RVs over the past couple of days. When you send your attack to their RVs, let's look at who this guy was, if I can find his name again. Here we go. When you send your attack against their RVs, most players will either send a full attack and then send defense support, or they will just send... Here we go, I don't have my attack troops yet. Or they will just send a attack with defense troops built into it, which makes the attack weaker. So you either have to sacrifice strength into the attack, which makes the attack defendable, or you have to sacrifice the fact that it will take longer to reinforce, and the enemy might be able to beat you and get troops there to cap the RB right back from you before you can do that. With the Veteran Swordsman, you don't have to make that compromise. It does both. It does quite well in attack, and it's the best melee coin defender in the game. Let me explain why that is. If you look at the Sentinel of the Kingsguard staffs, it's 150 and 65. The Veteran Swordsman's is 138 and 72. This has a lower total than the Sentinel of the Kingsguard. So you might be thinking it's a inferior defender, but it's not, because almost all the time, unless you're holding the Central, which is uncommon, to say the least, your Veteran Swordsmen are only going to be using their ranged defense stat, because most players are going to be sending full range on the flanks of their attack. If they aren't, then that's another discussion, but you can easily beat that attack anyway. So, the ranged defense stat for melee soldiers is actually far more important than the melee defense stat. Although, unfortunately, your troops do get sorted onto the wall, according to their melee defense stat. So what you will have to do is either not recruit Kingsguard troops in your main castle, or Kingsguard melee troops in your main castle, or you can just have your Veteran Swordsman as your only defender, which is actually a viable strategy, because, again, they can also be used in attack, so while it would seem like they're using more food, they're actually using less. So let's go over a quick overview of the Veteran Swordsman's bonuses and malices and why you should or should not use it. It costs more than a normal troop, but it's more food efficient, and it's superior to use in RV attacks. You don't have to use coins sending it to the safe house overnight like every other attack troop, because it can defend itself perfectly well. So you save points on that front, negating some of the forced malice. In fact, it might actually give you a net gain in points long term if you have the build item -40 recruitment costs. In fact, if you're going to use the Veteran Swordsman as your main unit, I highly recommend trying to get a max level of this. I am planning to get a max level of this, but I only have a level 9 wall capacity build item, so I am planning on getting level 10 before I start in on recruitment costs build items. Additionally, you only need the recruitment cost build item in one of your castles, and recruit all your Veteran Swordsmen from there, and recruit your other units from your other castles. As long as the castle you place your Veteran Swordsman recruitment thing on is in green, then all your other castles in green, you can just move your Veteran Swordsman to them from there. And you can recruit ranged attackers and defenders in your other 3 green castles. For your Arrow Realms, I recommend not paying to move the Veteran Swordsman in between realms, because it costs 50% as much to move a Veteran Swordsman from your main to your outers, as it does to simply recruit one in your outers, so you're better off just recruiting Veteran Swordsmen in your outers. So, the ideal setup, I believe, for Veteran Swordsmen is the following. Have one of your outposts in green with a recruitment cost reduction build item, and recruit Veteran Swordsmen there. Have your castle and or one of your outposts in green recruit ranged defenders, whatever the best one is you can recruit. And have 1 or 2 of your outposts in green, or just an outpost and a castle, recruiting ranged attackers. This setup will be very solid in that you'll always have a mix of whatever troops you need. And if you need melee attack troops, use your Veteran Swordsman. If you need defense troops, use your Veteran Swordsman and ranged defenders. And this is a very flexible setup, and I've rambled way too long about this. It is my favorite unit, so I may have spent more time talking about it than I really should have. But I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless. Like and subscribe if you did, or if it was helpful, and goodbye.